Oh, good day, YouTube, and welcome to another episode of the Albino Rhino beer review. And you have the Rhino, and you have the Rhino, and we're going to look at a beer. The beer we're going to look at today came from the Malt Madness March pack from the Brew Box. This was a brewery-only release at the beginning from Creative Arts that I have not had yet. This is Creative Arts Stash. The Stash, the straight-up ale is what it says on here. I know that when I was talking to them about this at the brewery, they were like, yeah, we just made up just plain ale. Nothing special, just a plain ale that anyone can drink. And it's 5% alcohol. And it says craft brewed stash straight up ale from Collective Arts Brewing. And over here it says drink from the can. And that's the one thing I'm not going to do. I very rarely drink from the can unless I don't have a glass. I would rather a glass. The drink from the can thing worries me though, that it's not going to smell all that good. Now, I'm not going to diss my craft beer brethren here, but for the most part, if you want a straight up ale or a straight up lager, I usually personally just go with macro companies. Like if I just want a straight up a lager, I don't know, like Miller Lite or something is what I'd go to, or some Sleeman product, or I don't know, Moosehead, even though it's more a regional brand than a macro brand. But when it comes to just straight up ale and straight up lager, I usually don't want to pay the extra money for something that's trying to taste like it's a macro. Now, I haven't had this yet. I'm just saying by the straight up. Wow. Okay. First and foremost, I was just talking about the definition of just a straight up beer, just a beer. Why would I pay like $3 something for a craft beer that's going to taste the exact same as the beer that cost me $1.85? Not the exact same. I know I'm going to get the people. You know what I'm fucking trying to say. Now, I said wow when I held this up, because when you just say straight up ale, I don't think an unfiltered ale. I love the look of that. Look at that. Semi-opaque, little nice haze to it, very hard to see through. There was a nice bit of head. No snap, crackle, pop anymore. Little snap, crackle, pop. A little bit of carbonation moving in there. That is a nice looking beer. I love the haze to that. I love the straw yellow to it. If you were going to give me a straight up ale, that's what I'd want it to look like. Smell. I've always joked that would happen to me, and it just did. I just snorted beer. My wife wasn't down here to see that. Okay. Now that my nostrils clean, this has a very minimal malt sweetness. There's a lot of hop coming off. Not like popping in my face hop, like almost like a mixture of like a noble hop and an English hop, because it's kind of like that cut grass with a tiny bit of sweet fruit and an earthiness to it. So this worries me a little bit, because this is another thing. I find there's two things that happen when a brewery just makes a plain old lager or a plain old ale and they're a craft brewery. They either go the bougie route, which is what I make fun of the stuff that charges twice as much money for a product that is basically mimicking a macro lager or ale, or they go full craft and they hop the shit out of something. It doesn't smell like it's hopped the shit out of, but it smells like it was going in that direction. But let's try it. Cheers. Yeah, that is a lot more hop flavor than the average person that's looking for just a straight up ale is going to enjoy. Do I enjoy it? Yes, I do enjoy it. But do I think like my father-in-law would enjoy it? No. Do I think my buddy Chris would enjoy it if he just tried it? I don't particularly think so. Do I think any of the people from my work that want to come and do some reviews with me that have only drank macro beers would enjoy this? No, I don't think so. Do I necessarily think that this had to be a bridge beer? No, I don't necessarily think that. I just think that the idea of just a straight up ale just makes and I think that's where I'm hooked, right? Everybody has a binding point on everything, and I think for me my hook is the straight up ale, and that just straight up ale just makes me think. Even much like the ale that Nickelbrook used to make, or the draft Nickelbrook used to make, their 2-4 for 2-4 draft. That to me was more like a straight up ale, just an ale that you could just drink, and it was more like beer than hops. And this is very hoppy. Do I hate it? No, I actually like it, but I'm stuck on that straight up ale and the hoppiness that's in this. That went down the wrong hole. Oh, to the people at Collective Arts, I apologize for that facial expression, because that had nothing to do with your beer, and more to do with the fact that I'm an idiot and don't know how to swallow. Okay. So, muted maltiness, little fruitiness in the aspect of like lemon and grapefruit zest. A little bit of earthiness. Sits right on the back of the palate, that earthiness, and then just a slight biscuitiness, like an English ale yeast. It's a good beer. I think it's a good beer. I just think it's a little too hoppy for what it is advertised as. Now, for that, I will do this. I would give this a 7.25. I could drink this. I could drink this at the bar. I could drink this with a lot of my craft beer buddies if this was all that was at the bar. I just don't think I could ever drink this with one of my macro buddies. And again, a craft beer shouldn't have to cater to the middle ground, but it's just the can made me think it would be catering to the middle ground. So I'm pleasantly surprised that the taste is much better than I expected. I'm just kind of saddened at the same time, because I was hoping that I'd find something that I could go and buy en masse and drink with my buddies that don't drink this type of beer. Excuse me. So thank you to the Brew Box for giving me the opportunity to drink this beer. I'm going to drink the rest of it while I play some Super Mario. Thank you guys. Bye.